Today is Saturday, September 29th, 2018. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor David versus Goliath, Episode 1. I'm using all PodSafe music this time, and I'm having fun trying different programs, different ways to generate the music. I like rain stick.
Yeah, I like the rain stick too. Hopefully the other folks are okay with that. We tend to have one thing all the way through, and I don't think I found the one thing yet. So I'm still experimenting. Got lots of change going on in the music as well as the format of the website. We had an unplanned update that we had to do. I mentioned this in the recap on Wednesday, but folks are still reacting to it. Some people are having difficulties navigating their way through, but it wasn't anything that we intended to do.
Read more.
Yeah, to see the full show notes for an episode, you want to click on the little read more link and it'll expand out for that episode.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, there's no this, there's that. But I kept looking, and yes, there was.
Yes, you can search for old episodes, and you can still find interviews and recaps that are separated out by different tags. Those things are all still working.
But I like the old one, too, and I don't like how the logos look.
I don't like change.
We're trying to fine-tune things, but...
well, we have to learn the new one. And like I said, we're
going to have to be some research involved.
Having some problems. Submitted a ticket, and their response was, you need to do this, which had nothing to do with the problems I was having. But
you couldn't tell us before the season started?
Well, they probably did. It was just something that wasn't in a good time for us before. It just happened not be a good time to do an upgrade now. Anyway, we're here to do the listener feedback show, which is where we turn the reins over to you, the other super fans out there that listen to Survivor Fans Podcast, and give you an opportunity to sound off on this episode and make predictions for what you think are going to come next. What else do we need to add before we get going?
Well, Randy sent in his song to pay his debt for losing the side challenge.
That's right, the JSFL side challenge, which carries with it an extra steep penalty. If you come in last, you do have to deliver a parody song as designed by the winner of the side challenge, which last season was Jeremiah. And so, yeah, we'll be using Randy's song as our outro for this episode. So stay tuned till the end, or jump ahead, because it's good. Good job, Randy. All right, we'll come back to that. Let's kick off the listener feedback show. First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Yes, I got to let out a great, big, Survivor David versus Goliath was an awesome premiere, great development of the players, just a sad ending. No tribal council. But you know what, though? Great episode. I was rooting for the David tribe all the way, and they came up just a little short there at the end. Some great development. I loved Christian and Gabby. That could be a very interesting alliance there. The kid Nick, I like Nick, but I think he's got to watch out. I think he's being a little bit full of himself, and he's getting a little over the top, and they see him as a threat. And then I like Carl. I think he's on to something good. Davy's got the octopus there. I didn't see that coming. Good on him. And then even Jess, the young girl there, she had an interesting story that I didn't expect. And then on the other tribe, the Goliath tribe, John Morrison was everything I expected, maybe even more. He was killing it in challenges. Officer Dan, he might be a little bit cocky, though. He better watch out. But I like that he has an alliance with some of those girls there. And good on him for finding the idol there. Right now, guys, I don't know. I mean, I like the older guy, Mike, but I knew it. See, by him looking for the idol, he got caught, and now he's got a target on his back. But even worse is Natalie. I knew that her big mouth was going to be her demise. She's lucky that they won that challenge, or I think she would have gone, or Mike. I think they're both lucky, I'd say. We'll see. Sad to see medical evac. I mean, that was intense stuff there. Man, the boat, evidently, when they were coming back, they said it flipped, and poor Pat he didn't land right, when he fell in the water and hurt his back there. I mean, that really is a shame. It's funny, when I first saw him, I thought he was a little bit crazy and bossy, but I loved his story, about his mother, Pierre being paralyzed. I mean, it was such a sad story, and how he had to work so hard to support his family, and then this happened to him. It's a shame. You would never want to see anyone go out like that, ever, especially at the beginning. I still think this is going to be a great season, sad ending, but a great episode nevertheless. And guys, here's a little trivia for you. The last time this happened for the first person being a medical evac was Survivor One World, when Courtney Moon got medical evac. I don't know if you guys remember that, the season that Kim won. But a great episode, guys. Take care. Woo!
All right. Thanks, Pete. I totally forgot about that. You remember her?
That.
She jumped, and they told them to cross their arms, but she tried to brace herself with her arm when she jumped into that net in the first challenge, and she broke her arm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was thinking it was her wrist.
Or, man, maybe it was her wrist.
Yeah,
it was something related.
She broke something.
Arm-related, yeah. And she was out. Yeah. Good job, Pete. Now, I didn't hear that the boat flipped. The interview that I saw with Dalton Ross, it was they had hit a wave and it came and it slammed back down into the water. So they kind of got launched in the air and then had a hard impact. Flipped and thrown into the water, I did not hear. So that was a little different.
Well, I haven't heard anything, so
I'll make sure to include that in the show notes. Oh, I told you about that. You heard that part.
I know,
when I told you about the
interview. I
interview.
didn't listen to
gotcha.
any interviews.
Yep, got it.
So.
Yeah, the stuff with Mike, that was interesting. And there was a good extra video that they put out on the YouTube channel where it was like day 2 at the Goliath camp, and you can see what a cluster their supposed shelter turned out to be. They just threw some poles. They propped some poles, some bamboo poles in trees. They didn't secure them. I think they just propped them up, threw some fronds over the top, and then laid bamboo on the ground for a floor. That was sad. And Mike evidently is the one who has a plan for a lean-to shelter. But it was interesting.
Because he read a book before he went out there.
He said, like any good castaway would do.
He's never even done camping, but he read a book before he went out there. Good on you, Mike.
Yeah, he said he was the only one who had a plan. The only thing is, in the video, they don't, I'm going to spoil it, they don't show whatever it is they ended up building, so we'll have to watch for that in the next episode or next extra videos that come out, or maybe there's some out there. I think most of the videos this week are just meet the castaway videos, just an extended talk with them other than that.
All right.
It looks like you were probably right, too, from the preview of next episode video, because Nick talks about he's either going to win it or go down swinging. So it does sound like with that teaser at the Next Time on Survivor with Lyrsa, with Elizabeth telling Lyrsa there's a target on her, that's at least the contention that we get, like you guessed, Lyrsa and Nick.
If they lose, they may win.
Right.
I may choose Natalie to go.
Okay. Yep. All right. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Shea.
Hey, guys, it's Shea. I missed Javik calling in for that, so I've got just a few random thoughts about the cast members and the first episode. The episode was one of my very favorite first episodes of any season. I thought it was fantastic. But one of my first thoughts is Parker. Heard him on Javik, and is his voice getting deeper, or is it just me?
Yeah, it is.
Also excited to hear his will. My husband is totally involved. He's got Christian versus Dan thing going on. He's always for the underdog. Christian is from Tallahassee, a Seminole, which is my husband's favorite football team. It's where he's from. And Dan is from Gainesville, which is the Gators, and my husband hates that football team. So you take underdog versus big burly dude and then throw in favorite and worst football team, and he's hooked. So that's great. My second thing is Elizabeth. I love her. I think she's having so much fun. And as far as what she was wearing once Pat was taken away, I laughed so hard. And my husband was like, what? And I'm like, you've got to rewind this and pause it, please. And so we rewound it and paused it and looked at it for at least 15 seconds, and I laughed till I cried. And I think the reason it feels weird to you, Joanne, is because underwear looks like a bathing suit. She looks mid-undressed, like you've caught her taking her clothes off. So I completely agree. She just needs to take it all off. I think life has made B very strong, and I think she's got everything it takes to go very far in this game. I like her very much. I love Gabby. I think she's a very positive person, and it would take a lot to get her down. And I think she's highly intelligent. I love Christian's facial expressions. He is so, so funny. And I think he's actually socially aware, not socially awkward. He completely understood that some of the things Pat was saying and some of the jokes he was saying were off-colored and could maybe be misunderstood by other people. And I thought that was really smart of him. And I think Christian and Gabby both are actually really cute under their nerdiness and would be great on one of those makeover shows. Natalie, wow. All I got to say is wow. And my husband calls Nick Slick Nick, used car salesman. On the Goliath team, I like Allison and John very much. And I can't believe that Dan showed the girls the idol. I think if he was quick enough, he could have hidden it, or at least tried, but I think he's way more about impressing the girls instead of winning at this point. Really sorry about that, Joanne. And I think Natalie told Mike about Target on his back because she was trying to bond like anybody, and I think she thought because he was older, maybe she could bond with him because clearly nobody was approaching her, but why would they? All she was doing was barking. For my final four, I've got Christian, Gabby, Allison, and John with my two extras as Elizabeth and Carl. I'm probably way wrong, but those are the ones I've enjoyed watching the most. I'm excited about the season, and your show makes it even better. I absolutely cannot wait to hear what everybody has to say. Thanks again for all you do. Have a good day, and talk to you next week. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Shea. Enjoyed that. Think she nailed it perfect with what's going on with Elizabeth, huh? You throw the sand waddle on top of that, and I can understand why she laughed till she cried.
I didn't really see your sand waddle, but you were like, and she's waddling.
Yeah. Next up, we got an email from Christiana in Boston. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I hope you had a great summer and enjoying the fall so far. I have a variety of disjointed thoughts about last night's episode, so here we go. I thought it was interesting that Jeff and the producers opted for purple and orange tribes again this season, and even more interesting that they gave purple again to the presumably more dominant tribe.
That's interesting. Yeah, I never gave that a thought.
No, I didn't either. In the theme of, and it's not just a cost savings measure because that's just not enough volume.
That's so. Because Wendell had such a thing last season, during the fire making challenge, and Donathan let him have purple because he didn't care.
Yep. In the theme of Ghost Island, you would think they would want to break the curse of unentertaining pre-merge dynamics between teams, with one team essentially railroading the other, but only time will tell. The theme of this season essentially comes down to unearned privilege, which is probably a good lesson for a lot of people in the Goliath tribe. One interesting fact, about 70% of Americans will self-identify as middle class, but only 50% actually are. And many of those who are incorrectly identifying themselves are actually above middle class. I have my theories as to why that is, but Allison fell into that as well, initially saying middle class before changing to upper middle class when explaining her dad and her are both doctors. Once they got on the island, John showed himself to be the new Chris Noble with his very entertaining edit. That's an interesting comparison. Looking forward to more opportunities of watching him talk to himself in confessionals. I found Angelina's ideas about women finding idols really interesting, and I appreciate that she's trying to change the narrative and the edit around that. I'm racking my brain to remember clutch idol finds by women, and the only two I can come up with are Carolyn in Worlds Apart and Kelly Wentworth in Cambodia. Russell Hantz alone has more finds in one of his seasons than that, so let's go, ladies. I also found it interesting that the challenge had a twist of one team creating a disadvantage for the other team through their lead. I don't recall something like that happening before. The Davids held their own, but in the end, they couldn't catch up to the Goliath tribe. Especially with the loss of Pat, the Davids are going to have a hard time keeping up physically, but maybe they can make up time in challenges if they all end with a complex puzzle. In terms of the long game, it's early, but I'm predicting that the women may take over the end game post-merge. There are a lot of beefy men in the game right now, but the women seem to be able to hold their own and are more strategic and analytical than their tribe mates may expect. Certainly more so than Dan.
Definitely more than Dan.
I threw my hat into the JSFL ring this season. Woo, good for you. And I have Gabby as my USB.
That's a good choice.
That's not a shabby pick there. Get it? Gabby, shabby?
Yes, honey.
I'm making a very premature prediction that Allison and Natalia's physical strength will pair well with Gabby's analytical skills and Angelina's game acumen via Adam Klein for a cross-tribe post-merge alliance. Very well could be. Looking forward to what other listeners have to say. Hope everyone has a good weekend. Thanks, Christiana. Good job on your feedback. Enjoyed all that. Next up, we got a call from Nicola-n-Jackson.
Hello, this is Nicola and
Jackson
from Kentucky. We just watched, I watched on Wednesday night and thought the episode was great. I hated the ending for Pat, but I think it gave us extra time with characters and camp life and everything else, not having that tribal council and watching the scramble.
It's my turn now.
What did you like best?
The purple team winning.
The purple team winning?
And that campsite. Where was that big storm wave?
There was lots of waves, wasn't there?
And also, we just watched the episode.
We just watched the episode.
And now we do have to get to some work.
Okay, now we have to get to some work.
Bye!
So, yeah, I thought it was a great opening episode. I can't wait for next week. The weather this time is obviously going to be just terrible. Yep, so I guess that's it, because he's wanting to do something else. So, day in the life of Grandma and Jackson. Everybody has a great week. Talk to you next week.
All right. I think that's the Jackson and Nicola show. I need to reorder that.
You need to reorder that.
Yeah, Nicola included a little extra written part there since she got cut off a little short. She said, I didn't get a chance to say much. Imagine that. I didn't quite fit into the 5-year-old's agenda. I really enjoyed the first episode. I think the ending, although very sad for Pat, afforded us more camp time with both tribes as they didn't have to edit in the pre-tribal scramble and debate. Just a few standouts for me. I'm with the majority on Dan. Really, not even 10 minutes in. Oh, Natalie's digging herself a hole. Nick seems to have as well, but I think the extra time will give him a reprieve. Looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you. Good job, Jackson.
Yeah, Pat might have actually saved Nick because they might need his strength more now.
Well, and in the interview with Pat said Nick was going that night as far as he knew. So... yeah, he definitely does have a target on him at that point in the game, day 3. Next up, we got a call from Eliza.
Hey, it's Eliza from now Lexington, Kentucky. I was in Georgia before. So I moved this summer and all kinds of stuff. I also met Nicola from Lexington, Kentucky, and we're great friends, so thank you for bringing us together. I almost picked Dan as my USB. I did decide to participate in JSFL this year. I'm excited about the show, but mainly I found the last season it was because of the podcast, and it's just because I just wasn't really letting myself get into the show. It had a lot of other stuff on my mind, so I thought this year it would be fun to participate in JSFL and just get more excited. And it's already worked. So I almost picked Dan as my USB. I don't know if you guys saw the viral picture going around about the hot cops helping during a hurricane or something. And he was one of those guys. So I thought it would just be fun to watch his cute face. But then I was kind of he's hot, so he's probably had a lot of stuff handed to him, and I'm going to eventually be I don't want this guy to win or something. I don't think that's going to be the case because he seems to be a different kind of person than I thought he was. However, the showmance it's making me laugh, especially since Joanne picked him to be her USB. I'm not super against showmances. I do roll my eyes at them a bit, but it can be cute. I mean, Ross and Rob and Amber were just, I'm sorry, they were adorable. So anyway, I ended up choosing Gabby, and I am very, very, very happy with my choice. I only had time to listen to your guys' Jabbik show. I didn't even have time to listen to the listener feedback Jabbik show. I ended up going in, and I only had time to pick my USB. By the time I chose my USB, I had something else I had to get done, and then there was no time to choose vote outs and safe picks and stuff. So hopefully this week I'll be better, but I'm glad I got my USB in. I'm glad I got Gabby. I ended up just choosing her from a picture. I was like, I think I can relate to this chick. Should be fun. Anyway, I am very happy to be in Kentucky. I am still looking for a job, so if anybody has a job in Lexington, Kentucky, let me know. I might be interested. And very excited that Survivor has started again. And hopefully Nicola and I will be watching together. We might even call in once or twice this season together. I'll talk to you guys soon. And I can't wait to hear the podcast. Glad you're back. Bye.
All right. Great to have you back. Good job on your feedback there. That'll be fun if you and Nicola can pair up for a call. Next up, we got an email from Nathan in Portsmouth, Virginia.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. I've listened to the podcast for the past few seasons, but this is my first time writing in for the feedback show. Well, welcome. The biggest surprise for me this episode was Mike leaving the tribe to look for an idol. He said he's a big fan of the show, so he should have known better. Yes, he admitted it was a rookie mistake, but I was surprised a big fan of the show would make such a mistake. He seemed to let his excitement get the better of him, but he better contain his excitement and start thinking about how to play if he wants to remain in the game. It seems that every season there is one person who alienates themselves from the tribe as the shelter is being built. This year, that prize goes to Natalie. I think it will be difficult for her to recover. Perhaps she will have a chance if the Goliath tribe wins several immunity challenges in a row, and she uses that time to build relationships. And what can I say about Dan? Maybe for him we should change the season from David and Goliath to Samson and Delilah.
Yeah.
Overall, the season looks promising. The theme, in my opinion, is just okay, but the cast seems entertaining. Keep up the great work on the show. All right, thanks, Nathan.
Yeah, good job. I like that. I definitely see a Delilah moment in Dan's future, too. Like he'll go to play the idol to save Cara, and she'll vote him off or something like that, right?
That's always a possibility.
Yeah. Good deal. Next up, we got a call from Sophie.
Hi Joanne and Stacey and everybody, it's Sophie again. I really enjoyed hearing all of your voices and your predictions. At that time I had no idea who was who on the Survivor team, and listening to all of your predictions was just so confusing. So I finally found the Josh Wigler interviews, and I was like doing a mad rush in the morning to listen to them and then trying to make a choice. From the photos, knowing nothing about the people, I liked Dan. Almost went for him, and I remembered him being in the news a few years ago once I started listening to the interviews. Then I thought Cara's smile was really nice too, but the first prediction of winner was B, but then she didn't have much experience on the Survivor, but I liked that she was going to hold all of the information close to her chest and not tell anybody anything. So I almost stuck with her, but then I thought, well, Davey, I don't know, he's got a lot of spunk, and I don't know, something was drawing me to him. So who did I go with? Yeah, so I just chose Natalia. I'm sure I had a reason, but right now I can't remember why. And she actually came off quite sort of argumentative, and I'm not sure how well she's going to end up doing. But anyway, it's going to be a fun season to watch. I had Lisa going home, like you guys. Yeah, sad about Pat, poor thing. But it sounds like he's stronger and better than ever now. Like he's lost weight, he's been going to the gym, and he's just hoping for a callback. So maybe he'll get it. It was scary to watch though, and it was fun. It was the first time I've ever watched like the opening season with my whole family. So I'm trying to get my husband on board from the beginning, and he really liked it, and he was worried about poor Pat. Because my husband had like a problem with his spine and vertebra and his neck, and when we heard that they had a crunch, it could have been worse. But I'm glad to hear that he sort of wanted the whole experience, and he stuck around in Ponderosa to meet all the players as they came off. So that was nice. he was really trying to soak up the experience. Next week, I've got a feeling that Mike is going to go for some reason, but I don't know, should I stay with Lisa or Natalie? It's really good. I'm really enjoying it. So, oh my gosh, can't believe Dan. Yeah. Showmance. We were like, are you an idiot? Take care, everybody, and yay, enjoying the ride with you guys. Take care. Bye.
Good deal. Thanks, Sophie. Enjoyed the picture you sent of you and your family, too. Next up, got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Cameron. Last season, I was a part of the duo Kim and Cameron, who submitted. Unfortunately, though, I'm no longer a high schooler, so I'm going to have to do all my submissions by myself this year. Maybe a couple with Kim if I see her around. So, starting out, what an intro. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this season's gimmick. At least I wasn't at first. David versus Goliath. I feel like similar to Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, or Millennials versus Gen X, it'll sort of just dissolve after the season premiere, though I definitely wouldn't mind being proven wrong. It's a very cool gimmick I think could work out well. But man, this intro really brought me back to just Pearl Islands, or just one of the classic Survivor seasons where they're on the ship and, you see some pregame, not just right when they get on the island. I really liked that. So far, I'm liking Nick a lot. I feel like he's going to go around jury, sort of like Joaquin from Worlds Apart or Marty from Nicaragua. I feel like he's got that kind of personality, though I really hope he's successful and makes it all the way to the end. I don't know why, but I really wish they had, tribe names this season. The only exception which they didn't have the tribe names were Heroes versus Villains, which worked out because it was just, All-Stars. But even Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, and Millennials versus Gen X, which had these gimmicks, also had tribe names, Tikali and Vanua, Yawa, Soko, and Levu. So if they're keeping the names David and Goliath, that sort of leads me to believe there's not going to be a tribe swap. We're never going to see a Rob and Amber ever happen again on Survivor. Dan is an absolute fool if he tries to form a showmance with Kara. It hasn't even been 2 years since we saw Taylor and Figgy, Cole and Jessica both fail. I don't know how, but I just completely forgot about the immunity idol until Mike mentioned it. I guess they just didn't. Usually they bring it up right away, but it took a little bit this episode. Right after they lost the challenge, I thought it was really random how Lyrsa had the diary session where she threw Nick's name under the bus. That was kind of random, and I wonder why they included that, especially for what's about to happen. Oh my god, with Pat. That might be one of the craziest medical asides I've ever seen on Survivor. That was just so shocking. We didn't see him hurt himself on the boat, but nor did we expect it because there wasn't a next time on Survivor last week because it's just the premiere. And, I'm a big fan of Big Brother, and I think anyone else who submits to the podcast that watches Big Brother 2 is probably ashamed by the finale of that. That did not go that well, so I'm really looking forward to a great season of Survivor to finish off 2018. Great season. Let's see a great winner. Let's have it all this season. All right, Joanne and Stacy, I'll talk to you guys next week, and I hope everyone else has a great weekend.
Thanks, Cameron. Yeah, nothing like a good dose of Survivor to wash away all that Big Brother mess.
You don't even watch Big Brother. You don't know.
I walk through the room and see enough to know that I don't want to watch. How's that? So, Cameron, you're going to want to go back and watch that first episode because they're setting up Nick. You missed that, so you're blinded by your JSFL choice that kept you from seeing the fact that Nick was doing no work and Nick got targeted. That's why you were surprised by what Lyrsa said, but as Pat mentioned in his exit interview, Nick had a target on his back, so your boy's in trouble.
In Stacy's expert opinion.
Yeah, well, I want to share the benefit of my knowledge with Cameron. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. All right, thanks, Cameron. Great to have your voice back. Next up, we got an email from Mike in Omaha. Welcome back, my fellow Survivor nerds. Some of you may not identify yourself that way, but I've got news. If you're listening to this right now, there's at least a teeny little bit of nerd in you. Okay, there it is. It's official from Mike. We're all nerds.
There you go.
Firstly, I've got to say I think I'm going to like this cast. I sort of hope Mike White doesn't last too long. He's funny sometimes, but has no business being out there. Natalie needs an attitude adjustment, but I really feel from her edit she's going to pull some shenanigans and won't be going home as soon as logic would indicate. Interesting, okay. John is a smart guy. I already knew that, but there's just no way he's making it to the end without a massive string of immunity wins or found idols like Mike Holloway or Ben Driebergen. I've already had enough of Natalia and Angelina. I hope by some miracle Natalie gets them before they get her. Hopefully Lyrsa can hang in there. She seems great. B is more impressive than I expected her to be. Carl is awesome. Gabby might be interesting. I strongly considered them both for my USB. Christian makes John Cochran look suave and collected. I've never been a fan of Cochran, so here's hoping I might be a fan of Christian. Okay, so I'm glad Pat is all right. However, I demand satisfaction as one of 16 geniuses who cleverly realized that he was rubbing everyone the wrong way pregame and had him leaving. Clee identified a 1 in 20 first out with no payoff. That's rough. I like how you reframe it all from your perspective in JSFL. That's cool. Surely I or one of my fellow 15 prodigies will win JSFL because everyone knows life's perfectly fair. All wrongs are always righted, and everyone gets their comeuppance, be it good or bad. I commend you, Joanne, for picking maybe not so hot cop Dan as your USB because you wanted to cheer for him.
No, he's still hot.
This go round, I wanted someone fun to cheer for as well. I've saddled up with Elizabeth. I like what you did with that. Saddled up with the cowgirl. Gotcha. And I'm sorry, Joanne, but she's going to rock that pantless in Fiji and cowboy hat combo many more times because my girl's going deep. Good luck, everyone. Great coverage as always, Joanne and Stacy. Thanks, Mike. When I first read that, when Joanne called me in, when your feedback came in, I thought you said that she's going derp and DERP, and I thought, oh, that's perfect. So I was like, what are you talking about? He said deep, not derp. Anyway, I like my version better, but I enjoyed your feedback, Mike. She definitely looks derpy to me. Next up, we got a call from BrandonA.
What's up, Joanna and Stacy and Survivor fans? It's Brandon from Cleveland. I thought it was another excellent premiere. Survivor's such a good show. I don't think it ever produces just straight up bad episodes of TV. I think every single episode, pretty much in the modern era, is good. Even the ones that are more boring, I still think it's still pretty good television. And this one was no different. It was sad not to actually have a vote off, and I hate the way Pat had to go out. I know he was devastated. I listened to some, not all of the last of the first one out series by Josh Wigler, and he definitely took it kind of hard. But, you know, I'm rooting for him to be able to have a chance to come back in the game, even though I think his trajectory this season, it was unclear whether or not he would have went far. I think it's definitely targets on that tribe, but I think he was definitely one of them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if he comes back for a second time. But I definitely would like him to. Definitely never want to see a big fan like that lose out on a dream. So again, I really like this cast. I think it's going to be a really fun, interesting season. It's a lot of good characters and a lot of potential for some really good gameplay. So I just can't wait to see how it all plays out. My boy Johnny Mundo's looking strong. He didn't have the biggest episode, but I'm still anxious to see where he goes. I'm very glad I did not pick Dan as a USB because I was thinking about it, as a lot of people were, but I'm so glad I avoided him and I actually went with Allison. She's looking okay right now. But I just wanted to point out real quick, if anybody, I guess, kind of want to see the way John Hennigan's athleticism on display, I know Glow is on Netflix. Another show that's also on Netflix that can highlight him is that Lucha Underground show I talked about, and he's highlighted very heavily. Well, he's highlighted very heavily throughout the whole show, but particularly in the first episode, if you just want to get a quick glimpse, if you just want to see him real quick and kind of be done with it, if you're not a big wrestling fan, so maybe watch the first episode of that show, and it can give you a good indication of how athletic and how charismatic this guy can be. I will talk to you guys next week. Peace.
All right. Thanks, Brandon. I think we'll check that out, huh? We'll watch an episode of Lucha Underground. I'm concerned about John, my USB pick. Same as Brandon, I guess, in the sense that we didn't see him form a strong alliance yet. We didn't see him work in alliances. So he needs alliances to be able to win. He needs people in front of him, and we hadn't seen that. And so I'm anxious to see the development of that happening. So I'm going to be really looking for that in the second episode. Thanks again, Brandon. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Kim from Raleigh. I think Cameron's sending in his own feedback. Just a couple quick comments. I was really rushed this week, and I didn't have a lot of time to spend on watching the episode because I wanted to get my feedback in. But so far, I find this concept pretty interesting. The policeman who was thinking about love on Survivor was very sweet. I like watching Christian. It's ironic that Mike White and what seems to be a real-life Nacho Libre are on the show. I wonder if they planned that. My favorite comment, hoisted by my own petard. I'm going to have to use a dictionary to make sure I know what that means. I like the statistics talk from the financial analyst. I wonder where she got that information. I'm going to search for a website with Survivor stats. I think I'll probably start with Reddit. I'll let y'all know if I find it. That's all. I look forward to the new season. It's nice to be back in Survivor land.
And nice to have your voice back. Thanks, Kim. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Brandon in Brooklyn.
Hello, Survivor fans. Wow, what an episode. Survivor is back, and it made presences known in a big way, sending Pat home. The episode did a great job of giving some people some spotlight and shine. I really liked Gabby and Christian in this episode. Gabby is cute, and she is my Survivor crush this season. I'm excited to see her and Christian team up and take control of this game. Christian is an interesting guy. I just worry about his ego if he has a lot of success. If he starts to take over the game, he could start to get on people's nerves. Christian and Eliza did great on the boat challenge. Christian dominated that slide puzzle. I was shocked how close both tribes were in the immunity challenge. Good job by the Goliaths for beating Christian and the Davids in a puzzle. They are a well-rounded group. However, I'm not liking how Natalie is distancing herself in the game. She isn't even trying to make social bonds. She needs to have more positivity in her game and show that she can what she can offer as an alliance member. Another person I was surprised about was Dan. I can't believe he was so thirsty for love.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and can get suckered in by beauty. If he is this infatuated by Kara so quick, I'm afraid of his game. I liked how the Goliath tribe quickly discovered Mike was looking for the idol. Then they all started to look for it. Who knew Loverboy Dan could find the idol so quickly? I really like Angelina and Natalia. They are strong, beautiful women, and I can see them taking charge of the Goliath tribe. I felt really bad for Pat getting mede-vac. He did a great job building the shelter. See you next week. All right. Thanks, Brandon. Good to hear from you. Up next, we have a voice clip from Ann.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. It's Ann from San Diego. I just finished watching the first episode. I thought it was very exciting. Just kind of sad about how it ended. It was really building up to a really good climax, and then, wham, I was really not expecting. I thought there might be a medical evac at some point in the season just because, or maybe a quarter or two because of the weather, but it just really surprised me the way that happened on their way back from a challenge. I really feel for Pat because back injuries are horrible. I've hurt my back before and it really never goes away. And it's something, once you know somebody who has back pain, you immediately sympathize because it's just something, especially chronic back pain, that is tough. So I really feel for Pat. I hope he doesn't continue to have problems from it. Somehow I accidentally picked as my USB a Goliath. I picked Dan the hot cop. And for some reason I thought he was a member of the David tribe. I guess just because it sounded like he had a struggle. So I totally called that wrong. And now it looks like he's going to get into a showman. So terrible choice, I think, at this point. He's still there, so it's better than some seasons. But I don't think the future is looking too good for Dan in the long term. Christian is a really interesting guy. I just hope he's not going to be our narrator for the entire time. Like, something about the way that his speech patterns, it makes me nervous. I have a hard time listening to him, even though the stuff he's saying, once he gets around to saying it, is really interesting and intelligent, and there's a lot of thought behind it, and he does seem like a really nice guy, but it's just really awkward to listen to, painfully awkward. And I've dealt with a lot of painfully awkward people in my time working in HR and dealing with engineers, but he's like a whole new level. I mean, it's probably just because he's so smart that he's thinking on more than one level at a time, and so it makes it hard to communicate, but whew. Anyways, it's a really crazy first episode. I love the challenge, and I'm really excited to see what else happens, but I hope everybody else stays healthy. Thanks, guys, for all that you do. Love hearing your Jabbik, and I can't wait to hear from everybody else.
All right. Thanks, Ann. Great to have you back. Next up, got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and wow, that was a really emotional episode. I was close to crying. Me. Anyone who knows me can tell you I don't cry at anything. Jiminy Christmas. Wow. When the Davids were all bonding, and then Pat, and it was all just like, what? You go into a Survivor premiere and you're like, yeah, it's Survivor time, it's back, woo! And then this happened. Which, I don't know if it was a bad episode, it was just very different. And since no one got voted out, they didn't know how to edit it. Because there wasn't like a story to push, usually you have that person that they sprinkle little hints that they're going home, but then they also have another person, usually on the other tribe, that also may go home, and they had that a little bit, but there was like lots of that, and it was weird. Do you get what I'm saying, or am I just talking in circles? I guess Pat was in this a lot, but man, not in a good light. Usually with the mede-vacs, you give them like this hero edit, and then they get injured, and then you're like, "Aw," and you're so sad. I mean, I was sad anyway, but Pat did not get a hero edit.
Nope.
Which I guess they worked. I mean, he built a shelter for them and stuff. That was very unfortunate, and that sucked. And I do not ever want to see someone get mede-vaced. Period. Just never happen again. That would be nice, because that's never a fun thing. Even though Dr. Joe is awesome, you don't want to see him, right? Certainly not in the first episode. Like, jeez. So my winner pick is Dan. Lovesick Dan. Jeez, dude. He's gushing over all the pretty girls. Dan, what are you doing? Honestly, everyone was kind of an idiot in this episode. Am I the only one who thinks that? Except for two people. And that's Christian and that's Gabby. Yeah, Christian and Gabby, they were awesome in this episode. I definitely want to see this Nerd Alliance, because, man, that's been teased so many times in previous seasons, and it never goes through, but I would love to see it go through. Dan finds the idol. I would be happy, but I'm not. Dan, you need to pull yourself together. Let's see how this goes. Hopefully things get better. Hopefully Dan lasts till the merge, so I can just switch. Hopefully to Christian. But yeah, hopefully next week is better. And geez, all right, I made a terrible winner pick. I will see you guys next time.
Okay, now, Parker, I haven't even completely given up on Dan yet.
Well, Parker's jumped ship already.
I know it.
Can't wait till I can make a change.
He's swimming for another boat right off.
Picked an idiot. Yep.
Well, he could come back if he gets a handle on things.
The only way he comes back
a good alliance
is if those
possible.
women decide that he's worth keeping for some reason, just because they can control his vote or something like that. Because the story that we ended up with after episode 1 is that Allison and Angelina are thinking, Natalia is too, but she's willing to throw down and argue with Natalie, and that's may not end well for her. Mm-hmm. But you've got two people who are sane, and then everyone else, although they didn't feature Jeremy enough to get a read, but everyone else is just kind of wackadoodle on that tribe. They had doofy moments.
I think Jeremy and Alec are aligned. I just
Alex
kinda,
aligned with whoever talked to him last. I think he's a windsock.
But I see
Maybe,
those two.
yeah.
You saw them hanging out a lot.
Where you saw them having that discussion about hunting for idols. Jeremy's like, I'm out of here. And Alex like, what do I do?
Well, and during the argument that Jeremy was having with Mike about the shelter and the extra clip, Alec was there snickering on the side.
He was Jeremy's wingman laughing at Mike, right? Yeah.
So that's why I think they probably have an alliance.
Possibly. Yeah.
So.
Good deal. Well, sorry you made that choice, Parker. Next up, we got a call from Rodney.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans everywhere. It's Rodney from Illinois, and I'm just ending one of my lovely 12-hour nursing shifts, and I just wanted to call and give a little bit of feedback on the first episode. I thought this first episode was great. The only thing I wish that we got was a little bit more scheming and plotting, because that's my favorite part of the show. Sad to see Pat go. When I saw the footage, the first thing I thought, based on the evidence that they said, was, hey, maybe he has a crushing fracture in his spine, maybe he slipped a disc. And with that immense pain and his inability to walk, I knew he was getting pulled, and we were not going to get a tribal council. I'm sorry to see him go, though I didn't think he was going to be the winner. It would have still been interesting to see him play the season. On to everybody else. Ha, 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 to everybody that picked the hot cop. I knew off the bat this guy, he was naive. Most of his interviews didn't seem like he was going to be a player. And nice guys. They finished last, but unfortunately, I don't think the hot cop's long for this game. Natalie did everything that she said was going to make her a target. She amplified it. That's not going to help at all. So she is not aware of how the game's actually played, apparently. I had a feeling about Nick when Nick was doing his first one out interviews and some of his preseason stuff. I thought he was a little shifty. I thought that he was overeager to play. I don't think Christian stands a good chance. And I'm up in the air if Christian, Lyrsa, or Natalie are going to be the next ones to go. I'm actually also afraid for, I believe it was Angela that was calling out Natalie in the first episode, because usually when you're first to pick sides, you're both sides, one of them will go. So I think she might go as well. Glad to see my USB Allison is doing great. Oh, and Stacy, that's a Wilhelm scream is what you were looking for. Yes. And insert that movie term you were looking for the scream. It's called a Wilhelm scream. But thanks for everything you do, and can't wait to hear what everybody else thinks.
All right. Thank you, Rodney. Appreciate you calling in after that long shift.
I think that sounded like a little nanner.
What's that?
Rodney calling us out on choosing Dan. Nanner.
Oh, no doubt. I don't think there's any mystery there. Definitely.
He didn't say nanner, but it sounded like a nanner.
Well, he laughed at everyone who made the choice. I'm not sure you need much more than that.
That's why I said a nanner.
Thanks, Rodney. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanna and Stacy, for the past few seasons, my loved one has said that she's done with Survivor and won't watch the new season. Then I tease some of the twists and share some juicy tidbits from interviews and Jabbick. Next thing you know, she's watching the premiere and is hooked for another season. It just happened again. To quote Bugs Bunny, "Ain't I a stinker?" This week's observations, I was struck by Angelina's over-the-top expressions as she watched the Davids clamber onto the ship. The only thing Captain Smirk didn't do was say, "Bless their hearts."
What did I say?
Yeah, you did. It was a bless their hearts face. Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the premise of Jeff's experiment on the ship was to prove that Goliath is a synonym for big and dumb. My theory is drinking nothing but coconut water gave Christian diarrhea of the mouth. Dan says cheerleader Kara is up his alley. I think he'll throw a gutter ball in the game. Pat puts the blue in blue collar. Hearing Fat Dan over and over gave me an earworm. The 1960s Batman theme. Okay, I could see how that could work. That's funny. I think Survivor Triple H must have been the last one the cast saw. Why else would Dan think that the proper place to hide an idol is in his pants? Dan should keep something in his pants, and it isn't an idol. Gabby and Christian are nerds of a feather. That's good. Okay, I like that homonym kind of thing you're working. After hearing his litany of wrestling names, I'm calling him Johnny, a.k.a. If If Natalie had been doing her creepy stalker staring thing at the David camp, Nick might have filed for a restraining order. Where's Mike is a catchy title for Mike's next movie. Nick wants to nickname all alliances. I think the Nuke No Work Nick alliance already has a catchy one. It made perfect sense that John wrestled his opponents down to gain an advantage in the immunity challenge. Given his epic fail in the puzzle, I'd say that Christian's algorithm needs tweaking. After seeing Pat's accident, it's clear they need Uber in Fiji. First, he was a featured player on Luca Underground. Now he's a standout survivor. John is a shoo-in for Mark Burnett's Employee of the Month. That's good. Next time, Natalie Napalm, Lyrsa's a target, and Christian's in charge. First, it was Big Bang Theory. Now he's gunning for Charles in charge. Is no sitcom safe from Christian? Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thanks, Joanna Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thank you, Josh. I enjoyed it. Next up, we got a call from Taz.
Hi, Joanna Stacy. This is Taz in Louisiana. I really enjoyed watching the first episode of the season. I have to say that my opinion has changed on many of the players after seeing them in action rather than just a picture on my screen. And we'll start with Christian. He seems to be a lot more together than I thought he would be, just judging by his picture. Also, Jessica and Lyrsa. Nick, he looks smarmy in his picture, and I think he's even smarmier in real life. Pat came off pretty abrasive, but although it may not have been directly shown to us, I think that after the shelter was built, he settled down and wasn't so crude and obnoxious. I don't really recall seeing Alec. I like Dan, my USB, but dude, get it together. A showmance is not for people who win Survivor. But at least they have the common sense to know that they need to try and hide it. John seems okay. I still don't think he's going to win. Kara, she seemed to be more together than her photo on the roster implied. Still, I don't think she's going anywhere. Mike, you'll be fun to watch, but you're not going to win. I kind of have trouble telling Angelina and Natalia apart. Is it one person playing two parts on the show? I'm not real sure yet, but I guess we'll find out. Natalie. What can we say about Natalie? She must think she's still at work being the boss lady. Anyway, I think her days are numbered, and it's not a very high number. She says that she has people who would take a bullet for her. I think more likely it's people who would take a bullet out of a box, put it in a gun, and propel it in her direction. That may be a more likely scenario. I really hated to see what happened to Pat. It must really suck to leave the game that way, especially on the first episode. But I can also say I know exactly what happened, because it has happened to me before. Once, while Paul and I were on a cruise, we were visiting the port of Grand Cayman, which the port is too shallow for the ship to go into the port, so they ferry passengers back and forth to the pier with a tender boat. After spending the day in Grand Cayman, we were returning to the ship, and the water had gotten very choppy. When the boat slams down on the wave and bolts back up again, that puts a lot of pressure on your lower spine. Also, I would like to add that for someone to be injured in this manner in a boat, I would think that they probably have a history of issues with their back. I've had back trouble for numerous years, and when we hit one of those waves just right, I saw stars. I wasn't injured as badly as Pat was, but I was in pain for the rest of the cruise, so I really feel for Pat. Well, that's about all I have to say for now. I'm looking forward to next week and hearing what everyone else has to say on the podcast. That's it for now. Taz in Louisiana, over and out.
Thanks, Taz. Yeah, in the interview, he said that it was a compressed spine. I was going to mention that when Rodney was talking about a diagnosis, but it was a compressed spinal column. That's like Taz and Pat. I've had that experience too. It was when I was very, very young. But yeah, super painful. And like Taz said, it's and someone else, I don't know if it was Rodney or someone else mentioned it. It's the kind of thing that you don't necessarily shake. I had a compressed spine at 7, and then I started playing full contact tackle football at 9, I guess. 8. Yeah, it was at 8. And hey, you're in the South, you play football. That's right. Part of what happens. Anyway, that and a bunch of bull in the ring exercises, and it messed my back up. Things that I have problems with to this very day. So, yep. All right, thanks, Taz. Thanks for sharing your experience, too. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, guys. It's David in Pittsburgh, just checking in and commenting on the first episode of the new season. I felt that the opening was not as exciting as some of the previous ones. I always like it when it starts out with Jeff dangling from a helicopter or standing on top of a mountain.
Okay.
But I understand that he needed more time to explain the theme to new viewers and to the cast members. As to the theme, I certainly like any theme better than last season's Ghost Island. So David and Goliath, I'll go along with it, and we'll see how long that lasts. Now, with the editing, I thought they did a great job with the first episode. On the two tribes, I already seem to know a number of the players. On David, we've got Carl, who really had trouble with the challenge. We have Christian and Gabby, the two nerds, kind of joining up together. We have Elizabeth, the cowgirl, and Larissa, the punk lesbian, also having a quick alliance. Mm-hmm. And we have Pat, who was eliminated, and Slick Nick. So I thought they did pretty well getting us to know a lot of those players. Mm-hmm. On Goliath, I don't know as many, but John is obviously a key player. And then we've got Mike and Natalie, the CEO, that kind of might form an alliance together, who knows. But Dan, the cop, who seems to be looking for love instead of an idol, and yet he's the one with the idol. And Kara, who he quickly fell head over heels for. So I'm looking forward to the way this season is going to turn out. I'm enjoying it so far, and I think they're doing a great job in setting us everything up. Bye.
Excellent. Thanks, David.
Well, see, Dan just wanted it all. He wants the full experience. Mm-hmm. He wants love and the idol.
Yeah, well, he's doing great if that's how you're scoring it, and he's winning. Good deal.
Go, Dan.
Thanks again, David.
Go, Dan. Go, Dan.
Next up, we got an email from Jack.
Hi, all Survivor fans. What a great start to the season. I was amused when both tribes first arrived on the boat at the beginning. The music was entertaining to differentiate the two tribes. When I see Gabby, I can't help but think of Aubrey. Does anyone else see the similarities between the two?
That's by design.
Both Pat and Natalie took the leader role when they got to camp. It would bother me, too, if all of us were working and one was just standing there and not helping at all. The alliance between Larissa and Elizabeth is going to be very interesting to see play out because I was not expecting them to create one, but it could potentially work out in their favor because of that. The pole vault portion of the immunity challenge looked like it would be really fun to do. Mm-hmm. Mike's going out to find the idol while his other tribe mates were working on building a shelter. It's never a good approach on the first day. I would have searched for the idol too, but not when there was work and a shelter to be made. I think Dan will use the idol well. When the David tribe was coming back from the immunity challenge, I thought I missed something when it showed the boat pulling into an island because of Pat and his injury. I hate seeing someone go out that way, but it sounds like he's doing okay from the final statement he put out. If this first episode is any indication as to what type of season we're going to have, then the result is rainy. All right, thanks, Jack.
I'm trying to think of what you meant by that, Jack.
It's going to be a rainy season if it continues.
Just literal. I thought it was some kind of figurative
I don't
reference.
think so.
Gotcha. Yes, it does. It will be a rainy season.
Remember literal?
It is the rainy season while this particular time of year, while this season was filmed. So more to come. Good deal. Thanks, Jack. Next up, got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanna Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. This is Jeremiah Panhorst here, coming from Southern California to discuss the premiere episode of Survivor David vs. Goliath. And like most people, I, of course, enjoyed the episode very much. I love 90 minutes. Of course, I'd love to have 90 minutes for every episode, but I certainly love it for the premiere. It definitely gives the opportunity for, of course, the editors to really hone the story, set the tone, give us an idea of who these players are and where they may be going in the game. And I enjoy that. I kind of feel like that when we don't get 90 minutes, we're really missing out on something for the premiere. overall, no one really necessarily surprised me. I kind of felt like everyone turned out to be who I thought they were going to be. Definitely, like, people like Christian really stood out quite a bit in this episode. Obviously, I knew he was a big-time socially awkward nerd, but actually seeing him on film and stuff just made him even that much more of a standout. He might even be a bigger nerd than Cochran, for sure. I definitely am going to probably enjoy watching him this season, and clearly the editors are going to have fun editing him because he's definitely a standout. Him and, of course, Gabby, as well, as you guys mentioned, was also a big narrator for the David tribe. So those are ones to probably watch on that tribe. Definitely John turned out great looking on the Goliath tribe. Oh, back to the David tribe. I do agree. Nick came across, of course, a little more evil than I thought he would be. They're kind of setting him up for that. And Davey was a lot more of a surprise as well. But anyway, back to the Goliath tribe. Yeah, I did think John looked really well. Obviously, people like Natalie does not look very well. Probably my pick for next week to go home. We'll see. But definitely, John definitely looked probably the best, I think, from the Goliath tribe. Although I did like Allison, looked pretty good. And I am liking Angela as well from that tribe. Now, I still like Dan. Yes, though, Joanne, I am one of the many people who took Hot Cop as my USB, so you're not in it alone. I'm sure Stacy is going to be so happy to hear that. But you know what? I'm not fully giving up on him neither, Joanne. You know, he didn't fully get the dodo music there. Maybe, you know, just because he has a thing with some of the girls doesn't mean that necessarily he's going to go down in flames. But it certainly is not looking good for him. But, you know, I'm willing to say that he's still up there as far as potential winners. He did get the, of course, Idol, which was a great, nice surprise. The editors did a great job with that, by the way. Him getting the Idol, I thought that was great. Yeah, I'm not totally giving up on him just yet. But I thought this was a great episode. Well done. I hate to see Pat go out that way, but I'm sure he'll get another shot at it. But overall, yeah, I was extremely happy with the premiere. Definitely looking forward to next week. And until next time, you guys take care. And this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Good job. Thanks, Jeremiah. Great to hear about your USB pick there, too, buddy. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm with you, Jeremiah. I think there's still some hope.
He will play it for someone else, or
they just wanted us to think that, right?
He will straight up Rickenback it, and he'll give it away.
Oh,
yeah. You haven't seen the extremes that Dan's willing to go to.
Yeah, but I still think he'll settle down. I still think he's got more game, and I'm hanging on to it.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, and yes, it was a fun episode, if you roll out the Pat storyline, of course. So, you know, I wasn't big on the beginning. Picking two of the weakest members of the opposite tribe and having them setting up the challenge was off to me. And you know what? A slide puzzle versus a 16-piece Soma cube was never going to be a fair competition. That was always going to be the deciding factor, because puzzle cubes are mercilessly hard. I have a standard 7-piece cube, and if I haven't done it in a while, it takes considerable time to figure out. It's not logic so much as trial and error. So, I'll be honest here, and I'll say that I don't generally believe in judging books by their covers, but sometimes you have to. In Natalie's case, I judged right on. Those quotes she had, I've had people who would literally take a bullet for me, and everything I touch turns to gold. Well, she has zero chance of turning her survivor stint into gold, and I know that she'll be the one taking a bullet for her tribe. I mean, she scares me. Truly. She's next off, or at least the first off on her tribe. And, oh no, poor Dan. I see him now as someone who's just become... how do I say this? A hottie who's sort of drunk with the attention he's now capable of receiving. I mean, a showmance this early on? But Joanne, don't worry, because the woman in the showmance is the one the tribe takes it out on. And even though I liked Cara better than I thought, she won't be here for long. And then there's Pat's mouth, which showed me how unaware he was. Yeah, his tribe says they'll miss him, but for a while they all wanted him gone while they were building that hut. He was never going to make it to the end, but he will certainly be invited back to the game at some point. I hope his back is truly better, but back injuries, yikes. I mean, this could be a real life changer for him. And Nick, well, he has no chance at all, and I don't think he'll make the merge even. He's a villain. And yes, when he shared his story, I didn't believe him until he continued talking about it in his confessional. And then there's Jessica, who sort of saved herself by sharing her deepest feelings. If she did it on purpose, she's a savvy player who disguised her weaknesses well. Well, at least for now. I do believe that she'll do far more crying than Natalia does fainting, which sort of brings me to my USB. Thanks, Stacy. I appreciated the heads up because I totally forgot, yep, I said totally, that Natalia was a fainter. And although I don't think it will really factor into the show that much, it was enough information to steer me towards Angelina as my USB. And that's where I stand. So, hey. Natalie next to go, and I am out of here. Good to hear everyone again. Take care now. Bye.
I think she's a good choice. I really considered her.
Who? Which one?
Angeline.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's solid.
However, it did that whole, stuff she did on the boat right off the bat kind of put me off a little bit.
Yeah, the bless your heart smirk.
Yeah, the bless your heart smirk.
Mm-hmm.
And
I wonder if Natalia is going to get in an argument with Natalie and faint. That might be something that happens in the near future.
No, I don't see that happening if she's angry. Mm-mm.
No? Okay. What is it you think that makes her faint?
Lack of food, lack of sleep.
The vapors?
The elements.
The vapors.
She could get the vapors.
Yeah. Oh, the extra video where you see Cara and Dan talking about how prune they are. He's like, look at my hands. And then she shows hers. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a great example of how hard it is on Survivor. You get to see it taking a toll on their bodies out there.
Well, if their hands are like that, you can be sure their feet are too.
Yes.
Or worse.
And that is a recipe for losing skin.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, I have done that. You get those wet feet like that, and you're trudging around, and I've lost the skin completely off the bottoms of my feet before, and that is no fun. That is a very
and you paid a lot of money for that
position
adventure.
To be in.
Aren't you swift?
That's all part of it, just like the experience on Survivor.
You couldn't walk when you got back, but okay.
Well, it's because I lost it again at the very end after I had recovered while I was out there. Yeah, there was a little surprise twist at the end of my adventure, and I lost the skin off the bottom of my feet again. So twice in 2 weeks was no fun.
Okay, but let's not relive that.
No, but it's what they're going through is probably way, way worse.
Yeah, but I'm starting to cringe
went through.
now.
Okay, moving on. Thanks, Paul. Good deal. Great to have your voice there on the first listener feedback show. We want to thank everyone who took the time to share their thoughts and predictions with us this week. We loved hearing how you felt about the episode. That was great. I thoroughly enjoyed everyone making fun of the Dan choices. Thank you so much for including that in your feedback. We want to thank Erica, Paul, and Taz for your donations. Really appreciate that. And also to Hazel, Christy, and Emily for your subscription donations. Thank you so much for keeping that up through the summer. We appreciate it. We also want to say thanks to Digital Tune 02 and Logan 5 Jr. or Logan's Jr. for your reviews on iTunes. Thanks for helping get the word out about the podcast.
Don't forget to make your picks before the deadline of 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific time on Wednesday. And I want to give a shout out to Steve. I hope you have a very happy birthday tomorrow.
Yeah, good deal. Okay, so now we're at this point in the podcast where we change gears just a little bit. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, we have a side challenge in JSFL. There's a select few who are willing to take the risk and dip their toe into these deep, deep waters because the repercussions can be quite challenging in the side challenge. And the way it works is that you just don't want to be last. That's what it comes down to. You don't want to come into the season, you don't want to have the least amount of points, but that's where Randy found himself. And Jeremiah had the most, and so he got to choose a song. He chose Just the Two of Us by Grover Washington Jr., and with the criteria that it'd be about Dom and Wendell. And so Randy's put together some lyrics to that tune, and he's here to pay off his debt for the side challenge from last season. Anything you want to add?
Nope, we're going to let him play us out. Everybody have a good weekend.
I see Navidi members fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through to make those millions in my mind. When I think of you sometime, I want to spend my time with you. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us, Dom and I. Just the two of us, building idols on the slide. Just the two of us, Dom and I. We look for idols, no time for beers. Wasted water's all that is, and it don't make no millions grow. Good things might come to those who wait, not to those who wait too late. Laurel, we gotta go for all the dough. Just the two of us. We can make Angela cry. Just the two of us, Wen and I. Just the two of us, building them idols on the slide. Just the two of us, Wen and I. I hear Navidi members call, stay strong and stand tall, and it becomes their tribal song. And when tribal comes, and I see the morning sun, I wanna be the one with you. Just the two of us. We can win it if we try. Just the two of us, Wen and I. Just the two of us, building idols on the slide. Just the two of us, Wen and I. Wait a minute, Wen. Only one of us can win. I know, man, and I'm gonna kick your butt.
All right.
All
yeah.
right.
Good job. That is a debt paid. That's how you pay it off right there. Good job, Randy.